In the shadowed heart of the 31st millennium, the galaxy trembled as brother turned against brother, and the Emperor's dream of unified humanity drowned in rivers of blood. The Horus heresy, a cataclysm born of ambition and betrayal, tore the Imperium asunder, its wounds still festering in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, where loyalty is but a fleeting lie and treachery reigns eternal. The Horus heresy, spanning roughly 7 years in the early 31st millennium, circa 005.M31 to 014.M31, was the cataclysmic civil war that shattered the Imperium of man during its nascent glory at the height of the Great Crusade. This apocalyptic conflict, instigated by the war master Horus Lupercal, the Emperor's most trusted Primarch, saw half of the Imperium's forces, Space Marine legions, Imperial Army regiments, and Mechanicum Forge worlds turn traitor, seduced by the malevolent Chaos gods. Below is a detailed exploration of its causes, key events, major battles, and enduring consequences, steeped in the grim dark tone of Warhammer 40k. Origins of the heresy. The seeds of the heresy were sown during the Great Crusade, a 200-year campaign to reunite humanity's scattered colonies under the Emperor's secular imperial truth. The Emperor, a psychic titan and mastermind of human destiny, created 20 Primarchs, genetically engineered sons, each a demigod of war, to lead his Legiones Astartes. However, the Chaos gods, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh, scattered the infant Primarchs across the galaxy via warp sorcery, forcing the Emperor to recover them from disparate worlds, each shaped by their adoptive cultures. Horus Lupercal, Primarch of the 16th Legion, Luna Wolves, later Sons of Horus, was elevated to War Master, commanding the crusade while the Emperor returned to Terra to work on the secret Imperial Webway project, a warp-safe transit network to free humanity from navigator dependency. Horus's appointment as War Master bred resentment among some Primarchs who felt slighted or questioned his authority. The Emperor's withdrawal to Terra fueled doubts, as did his cryptic secrecy about the Webway. The Chaos gods exploited these fractures, targeting Horus's pride and ambition. On the moon of Davin, during a campaign against a warp-tainted cult, Horus was wounded by a cursed blade wielded by the traitor governor, Eugen Temba. The wound festered beyond mortal medicine, and in a ritual orchestrated by the word-bearer's first chaplain, Erebus, a secret devotee of chaos, Horus was exposed to visions in the warp. These visions, manipulated by the Chaos gods, showed a future where the Emperor ascended to godhood, ruling a stagnant Imperium that forgot Horus and his brothers. Convinced the Emperor sought to betray humanity, Horus swore allegiance to Chaos, his soul corrupted by promises of power and autonomy. The Traitors' Alliance. Horus, now a puppet of the ruinous powers, rallied 9 of the 18 active Primarchs. The 2 and 11th Legion's fates remain redacted, to his cause, each swayed by personal grievances or Chaos's insidious influence. Fulgrim. Seduced by Slaanesh via a demonic blade, Fulgrim descended into hedonistic excess, his legion embracing decadence. Perturabo, embittered by endless siege warfare and the Emperor's perceived indifference, he joined Horus out of spite. Konrad Kurz, a psychotic visionary, tormented by foresight of betrayal, Kurz embraced his nihilistic destiny. Angron, 12th Legion, World Eaters. Driven by rage and the pain of the butcher's nails, he pledged to Khorne, craving slaughter. Mortarion, 14th Legion, Death Guard. Resentful of the Emperor's psychic dominance and swayed by Nurgle, he turned traitor after entrapment in the Warp. Magnus the Red, 15th Legion, Thunder Sons. A tragic figure, Magnus sought to warn the Emperor of Horus's betrayal via forbidden sorcery, inadvertently breaching Terra's webway defenses. Sanctioned by the Emperor, he was driven into Tzeentch's arms. Horus Lupercal, 16th Legion, Sons of Horus, the rebellion's architect, empowered by all 4 Chaos Gods. Lorgar Aurelian, 17th Legion, Word-Bearers, a zealot who worshipped the Emperor as a god, turned to chaos after the Emperor humiliated his faith, orchestrating the heresy's spiritual corruption. Alpharius Omegon, enigmatic and duplicitous, their motives remain unclear, possibly acting as double agents or fully embracing Tzeentch. The Loyalist Primarchs, Raubute Guliman, Ultramarines, Rogel Dawn, Imperial Fists, Sanguinius, Blood Angels, Ferrus Monus, Iron Hands, Vulcan, Salamanders, Corvus Corax, Raven Guard, Jagatai Khan, White Scars, Lemon Russ, Space Wolves, and Lionel Johnson, Dark Angels, remained steadfast, though their legions faced immense trials. The Imperial Mechanicum split into Loyalist and traitor factions, the Dark Mechanicum, and vast swathes of the Imperial Army and Titan legions followed Horus, lured by promisers of glory or corrupted by warp influence. Key battles and events. The heresy unfolded through a series of apocalyptic campaigns, each a testament to the Imperium's fragility and the horrors of fratricidal war. Istvan III Atrocity. Horus's first act was to purge disloyal elements within his own legions. On Istvan III, a rebellious world recently brought to compliance, he ordered a viral bombardment to exterminate both rebels and loyalist space marines from the Sons of Horus, Emperor's Children, World Eaters, and Death Guard. The virus bombs unleashed flesh-melting plagues, reducing millions to sludge in moments, while orbital land strikes incinerated the surface. Loyalists like Captain Garro of the Death Guard and Sol Tarvitz of the Emperor's Children rallied survivors, holding out in bunkers for weeks against traitor assaults led by Angron's berserkers. The battle ended with the traitor's victory, but Garro escaped to warn Terra, carrying the Eisenstein through the warp.
The Drop Site Massacre. Horus lured 3 loyalist legions, Ferrus Manus's Iron Hands, Vulcan's Salamanders, and Corax's Raven Guard, to Istvan V under the guise of a counteroffensive. 4 traitor legions, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion, ambushed them after feigning loyalty. Ferrus Manus, enraged, charged Fulgrim, only to be beheaded by his former brother, the first Primarch casualty. The Salamanders and Raven Guard were decimated, with Vulcan captured and tortured by Kurz, and Corax forced to flee with a fraction of his legion. The massacre crippled Loyalist strength and emboldened the traitors. Shadow Crusade and the Ruin Storm. To isolate Terra, Lorgar and Angron unleashed the Shadow Crusade, devastating Ultramar, the Ultramarines' realm. On Calth, the Word-Bearers ambushed Guilliman's forces, detonating the sun's radiation to scorch the planet, trapping survivors in arcologies. Lorgar's sorcery conjured the Ruin Storm, a warp tempest that severed Loyalist communications and navigation, delaying reinforcements. Guilliman, presumed lost, reorganized his forces, while Sanguinius and the Blood Angels fought through the storm to reach Terra. Battle of Molech. Horus assaulted Molech, a world housing a warp gate that amplified his power. Empowered by the Chaos Gods, he slaughtered the defending Imperial fists and knights, emerging as a near-divine warlord. This victory solidified his dominance, but drew Loyalist attention to his growing strength. The Siege of Terra. The Hereses' climax saw Horus's armada descend on Terra, blockading the Sol system. Rogel Dorn fortified the Imperial Palace, its walls bristling with void shields and macro cannons. The traitor legions, swollen with demons and dark mechanicum war engines, besieged Terra for 55 days. The Eternity Gate became a charnel house, with billions of mortals and Astartes dying in hab-block purges and titan duels. Sanguinius led the Blood Angels in a desperate defense of the outer walls, his angelic visage inspiring hope amid carnage. Horus lowered the vengeful spirit's shields, luring the Emperor aboard for a final confrontation. Final duel on the vengeful spirit. Teleporting aboard Horus's flagship with Dorn, Sanguinius, and a Custodes retinue, the Emperor faced his fallen son. Sanguinius, weakened from battle, fought Horus alone, his wings shattered by the War Master's demon-infused talon. Horus slew Sanguinius, his psychic death scream echoing through the Blood Angels' gene seed, cursing them with the Black Rage. The Emperor confronted Horus, now a monstrous avatar of chaos, swollen with warp energy. The duel rent reality. Horus's mace, Worldbreaker, crushed the Emperor's chest, and psychic assault seared his soul. Yet the Emperor, seeing a flicker of remorse in Horus, hesitated before unleashing a psychic blast that obliterated Horus's soul, purging Chaos's hold, but leaving the Emperor mortally wounded. Dorn recovered his body, placing him on the golden throne to sustain his life. Consequences and legacy. The Horus heresy shattered the Imperium's unity and the Emperor's dream. The Emperor, reduced to a psychic husk, was interred on the Golden Throne, a life support device that consumed thousands of psychers daily to power the Astronomicon and keep him alive. The Loyalist Primarchs suffered grievously. Ferrus Manus was dead, Sanguinius slain, Guilliman mortally wounded, later interred in stasis, Vulcan missing, Corax and Russ vanished into the warp, Jethai lost to the webway, and Dorn and Lion riven by guilt and secrecy. The traitor legions fled to the Eye of Terror, becoming demon princes or broken exiles, their legions fractured into warbands. The Imperium descended into stagnation. The Great Scouring purged traitor remnants, but the imperial truth was abandoned as the ecclesiasticury deified the Emperor, birthing a theocratic dystopia. The Space Marine legions were split into smaller chapters via Guilliman's Codex Astartes to prevent future rebellions, though resentment lingered. The heresy's psychic scars birthed the Black Rage in the Blood Angels and mutations in the Thousand Sons, while the Imperium faced resurgent threats. Abaddon, Horus's successor, launched black crusades from the Eye of Terror, and Xenos empires like the Orcs and Eldar exploited the chaos. In the 41st millennium, the heresy's shadow looms eternal. The Emperor's sacrifice holds the Imperium together, but it is a decaying edifice, sustained by faith and sacrifice in a galaxy where hope is a lie. The traitor legions, now Chaos Space Marines, wage eternal war, their hatred undimmed.
As the 41st millennium lurches toward its twilight, the Imperium of man teeters on the precipice of annihilation. The Cicatrix Melicticum, the great rift, has torn the galaxy asunder, a jagged scar of warp energy that bisects the Imperium into Imperium Sanctus and Imperium Nihilus, the Dark Imperium, where the Astronomicon's light is but a flickering whisper. Robute Gilliaman, the avenging sun, wages the indomitous crusade to reclaim lost worlds, his superhuman will a bulwark against despair. Yet, even the Primarch's return cannot stem the tide of chaos, xenos, and prophecy that threatens to drown humanity in its own blood. This chapter explores the escalating crises of the late 41st millennium, the Emperor's waning influence, and the shadowy terminus decree that could either save or doom mankind. The Cicatrix Melicticum, birthed by Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade and the fall of Cadia, has unleashed unprecedented horrors. In Imperium Nihilus, worlds are cut off from Terra, their astropathic choirs silenced by warp storms. Hive cities starve, their billions turning to cannibalism as supply fleets vanish. Demons materialize in cathedral spires, their laughter echoing over corpse-choked streets. In Imperium Sanctus, Gilliaman's crusade forges a fragile lifeline, bolstered by the Primaris Space Marines, new, enhanced warriors created by Archmagos Belisarius Call, using ancient gene tech. These giants, clad in Gravis armor and wielding bolt rifles, spearhead assaults on worlds like Baal, home of the Blood Angels, where they repel High Fleet Leviathan's tyrannid swarms in a slaughter that paints the deserts red with Xenos ichor. Yet the crusade is a Pyrrhic endeavor. Gilliaman, wielding the Emperor's flaming sword, faces impossible odds. Orc-Waz surge under Gazkul Thraka, whose green tide overwhelms Armageddon's defenses. Necron dynasties, led by the silent king Xeric, awaken en masse, their tomb worlds deploying Gauss flares that strip flesh to atoms. And the Tau Empire's fifth sphere expansion lures frontier worlds with promises of unity, only to subject them. Within, the ecclesiarchy's zealots clash with Gilliaman's secular reforms, branding him a heretic for questioning the emperor's divinity. Inquisition factions, notably the Ordo Xenos and Ordo Malleus, wage shadow wars, purging loyalists and traitors alike. Gilliaman, haunted by visions of his father's decaying form, questions whether the Imperium is worth saving, his superhuman mind wrestling with a truth he dares not voice. The Emperor may no longer guide them. The Emperor's waning light. On Terra, the Golden Throne's decay accelerates. Adeptus Mechanicus tech priests, their augmetic limbs trembling, report critical failures in the throne's psycho-arcane circuits, relics of a lost age no living soul can repair. The Custodes, the Emperor's golden guardians, stand vigil in the Sanctum Imperialis, their faces grim as the psychic toll rises. 2,000 psychers are now sacrificed daily, their screams echoing through the palace's vaulted halls. The Astronomicon flickers, stranding fleets in the warp, where navigators claw out their eyes to escape visions of demonic maws. The Emperor's psychic presence, once a radiant beacon, frays into discordant fragments. Some claim he speaks through dreams, urging defiance.
Others whisper he is silent, his soul fracturing under the strain of battling chaos in the Imperium. Miracles persist, fueling ecclesiarchal fervor. On the Vostroya hive world, a statue of the emperor weeps blood, rallying firstborn regiments to repel a chaos incursion led by the word-bearers. The Legion of the Damned appears on Necron tomb worlds, their flaming bolter shattering Xenos constructs. Yet these acts grow erratic, and dark omens proliferate. Astropaths report visions of a star child, wreathed in light, battling a shadowed figure with Horus's face. The Inquisition's Thorian faction, believers in the Emperor's rebirth, grows bold, clashing with Puritan inquisitors who see such prophecies as heresy. Whispers of the Terminus Decree, a sealed order within the Grey Knight's fortress monastery on Titan, surface, said to hold the Emperor's final command, to be opened only when hope is lost. The resurgence of ancient foes. The galaxy's predators sense the Imperium's weakness. In Imperium Nihilus, the Blood Angels, led by Dante, hold ball against endless Tyranid assaults, their Primaris reinforcements barely stemming the tide. The Orcs, united under Gazko's prophetic vision of a great Wa, overrun sector after sector, their crude war engines toppling hive spires. The Necrons' awaken accelerates. Zarek's Sautek dynasty deploys monoliths that rewrite reality, erasing imperial armies from existence. The Eldar, guided by Yuvrain of the Ynnari, seek to awaken their death god Ynead to defeat Slaanesh, manipulating imperial forces into battles that serve Aldari ends. In the shadows, the Alpha Legion sows discord, their operatives impersonating loyalist commanders, turning allies against each other. Chaos grows ascendant. Abaddon's Black Legion, bolstered by demon primarchs like Angron and Mortarion, launches raids from the Eye of Terror. On plague worlds, Nurgle's pestilences transformed populations into poxwalkers, shambling corpses that overwhelm defenses. The Tzeentch's Thousand Sons, led by Magnus, unleash sorcery that twists reality, turning hive cities into labyrinths of madness. The Black Crusades converge on the Cadian Gate, threatening to spill into Sanctus. Guilliman's crusade stalls as supply lines collapse, and he faces a grim choice: defend Terra or abandon Nihilus to its fate. The Terminus Decree and the Star Child's Shadow. The Terminus Decree becomes a focal point of hope and dread. Sealed within a stasis vault on Titan, guarded by the Grey Knight's Grand Masters, it is rumored to contain the Emperor's final instructions, penned before his entombment. Some believe it orders the destruction of the Golden Throne, freeing the Emperor's soul to ascend as the Star Child, a warp-born god to rival chaos. Others fear it commands a galactic purge, sacrificing humanity to deny chaos victory. The Grey Knights, psychic warriors forged to battle demons, debate its opening, their prognosticars divining apocalyptic visions of Terra consumed by warp fire, or a reborn emperor wielding a sword of starlight. The Star Child prophecy gains traction. The Illuminati, a secret cabal of psychers who have endured demonic possession, claim the Emperor's soul fragments are coalescing in the warp, forming a divine entity. Their agents seek the Sensei, rumored mortal descendants of the Emperor, whose pure psychic essence could anchor his rebirth. The Inquisition hunts these heretics, burning entire worlds to suppress the prophecy. Guilliman, torn between duty and doubt, encounters Yuvrain, who reveals Eldar lore tying the Star Child to Ynead's awakening, hinting at a cosmic convergence that could reshape reality or doom it. A galaxy on the brink. As the 41st millennium nears its end, the Imperium faces its darkest hour. On Terra, riots erupt as pilgrims driven by mad storm the Eternity Gate, their bodies crushed by Custodes' spears. Hive worlds like Necrombula descend into anarchy, their underhives spawning gene-stealer cults that worship tyrannid hive minds as gods. The Mechanicus, desperate to repair the throne, unearth forbidden Dark Age tech, risking AI rebellion. Guilliman, besieged on all fronts, receives a cryptic astropathic message from Leon L. Johnson, the Dark Angel's Primarch who has emerged from millennia in stasis within the rock, vowing to rally the unforgiven chapters. The final blow looms. Abaddon's forces mass for a 14th Black Crusade, joined by demon primarchs and a Necron dynasty seeking to exploit the chaos. The tyrannid hive. As the galaxy drowns in the cicatrix maledictum shadow, the Imperium's heart beats feebly, sustained by the God Emperor's fading will. The terminus decree looms like a guillotine, its secrets poised to unleash salvation or annihilation. In this twilight of hope, where stars gutter and die, a new storm gathers, one that will test the Imperium's soul and decide if humanity's flame will endure or be snuffed out in the cold void of despair. The shattering of hope and the shadow of the Ranadandra. The late 41st millennium, scarred by the cicatrix maledictum's malevolent rift, sees the Imperium of man as a fractured relic, its worlds crumbling under the weight of endless war. Robut Guilliman, the resurrected Primarch of the Ultramarines, wages the indomitous crusade to stitch together the bleeding remnants of Imperium Sanctus, while Imperium Nihilus languishes in darkness, its worlds devoured by demons and Xenos. The Golden Throne, the Emperor's life-sustaining prison, sputters toward failure, its mechanisms eroding despite the Adeptus Mechanicus's desperate rituals. The Terminus Decree, sealed within the Grey Knight's fortress on Titan, whispers of a final reckoning, while prophecies of the Star Child and the Eldar's Ranadandra converge, heralding a cataclysm that could reshape the galaxy or end it. This chapter delves into the escalating collapse, the return of another Primarch, the unraveling of the Terminus Decree, and the apocalyptic convergence of fates. The Imperium's desperate stand. Guilliman's indomitous crusade, bolstered by Primaris Space Marines, claws back worlds from the brink, but each victory is a wound. On the shrine world of Sabathiel, the Ultramarines and Sisters of Battle repel an Word-bearer's assault, their bolters and flamers purging demon worshippers in cathedral ruins, only to find the planet's reliquaries defiled, their psychic wards feeding a warp breach. In Imperium Nihilus, the Blood Angels, led by Commander Dante, hold bail against the resurgent tyrannid Hive Fleet Kraken, its bio-titans towering over crimson sands, their psychic screams amplifying the black rage in every surviving Astartes. Guilliman, coordinating from the fleet flagship Macrogi's Honor, receives fragmented reports. Necron tomb worlds awaken in unprecedented numbers, their cryptex deploying chronomantic weapons that age Imperial armies to dust in seconds. Orc Waz under Gazkul Thraka overrun Armageddon's ash wastes, their gargants toppling hive spires, and Tau enclaves expand, siphoning human worlds with promises of peace, only to enforce compliance with pulse rifle and battlesuit. Within the Imperium, dissent festers. The ecclesiarchy, enraged by Guilliman's secular reforms, brands him a heretic, inciting riots on hive worlds like Necromunda, where billions chant the Emperor's name while burning effigies of the Primarch. The Inquisition's factions, Ordo Hereticus, Malleus, and Xenos, wage covert wars, purging entire sectors on suspicion of taint, their collateral slaughter rivaling the enemy's. The Adeptus Mechanicus, obsessed with preserving the Golden Throne, unearths forbidden Dark Age technologies, whisking a second Men of Iron rebellion. Guilliman, his superhuman intellect strained, confides in his confidant, the Eldar Yvrain, who warns of the Ranadandra, the Eldar's prophesied final battle where all races converge to decide the galaxy's fate. Her cryptic words haunt him. The Star Child's birth demands a sacrifice beyond reckoning. The return of the lion. Amid this chaos, a beacon of hope, or dread, emerges. On the fortress monastery, The Rock, deep in the Caliban system's ruins, Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the Dark Angels, awakens from 10 millennia of stasis. Preserved by the mysterious Watchers in the dark, the lion emerges clad in ancient armor, his sword fealty gleaming with psychic frost. His return is no triumph. The Rock is besieged by Magnus the Red's Tunsons, their sorcery twisting its halls into kaleidoscopic nightmares. The lion, his mind scarred by visions of Caliban's betrayal, carves through Tzeentchian daemons, his roar shattering warp-spawn delusions. Rallying the unforgiven, Dark Angels and their successor chapters, he launches a counter-offensive, purging the Rock in a bloodbath of bolter fire and chainblade. The lion's return sends shakewaves through the Imperium. Guilliman, meeting his brother on the war-torn world of Caliban Shard, finds the lion changed, his once stoic demeanor now laced with paranoia, haunted by the fallen, Dark Angels who turned traitor during the heresy. The brothers clash. Guilliman urges unity under the Codex Astartes, while the lion, loyal only to the Emperor, rejects bureaucracy, vowing to hunt the fallen and reclaim his legion's honor. Their uneasy alliance forms the backbone of a new crusade, the Leo Sanguis campaign, targeting Nilus's demon-infested sectors. On worlds like Charon's Folly, the Dark Angels and Ultramarines fight back-to-back, their Primaris brethren clashing with Mortarion's Death Guard, whose plague clouds wrought power armor to sludge. Yet the lion's obsession with the fallen sows discord, as he diverts forces to pursue cryptic leads, straining the Crusade's cohesion. The Terminus Decree unveiled. On Titan, the Grey Knights, psychic warriors forged to battle chaos, face a crisis. Their prognosticars, seers who divine the warp's tides, report visions of a galaxy consumed by fire, with the Emperor's silhouette fading into a star-wreathed child. The Terminus Decree, a sealed vault within Titan's deepest sanctum, becomes the focus of desperate debate. Grandmaster Vardan Kai, clad in Terminator armor etched with purity seals, convenes the chapter's leadership. Some argue the decree must be opened, believing it holds the Emperor's final command to trigger his rebirth. Others warn it could unleash a cataclysm, perhaps activating a failsafe to destroy Terra and deny Chaos victory. The vault's wards, inscribed with runes that burn the eyes, resist all attempts at access, until a rogue inquisitor, Thorian radical cryptman, infiltrates Titan, driven by visions of the Star Child. Cryptman, wielding forbidden lore from the Black Library, breaches the vault, revealing a crystalline tablet inscribed with the Emperor's Pykic imprint. Its message is fragmented but dire. When the throne fails, seek the first son's blood. In sacrifice the Star Child rises. The Grey Knights, horrified, execute Gripman, but the tablet's words spread, igniting panic. Guilliman, informed via astropathic relay, deduces the first son refers to Sanguinius, whose death aboard the vengeful spirit left the pykic wound in the Blood Angel's gene seed. The Lion, however, interprets it as himself, the first Primarch, and vows to offer his life if it ensures the Emperor's will. The brothers' rift deepens, each pursuing their own path to fulfill the prophecy. The Ranadandra looms. The Eldar's prophecy of the Ranadandra gains chilling clarity. Yvraine, leading the Yennari, reveals to Guilliman that the Star Child's birth is tied to Yenad, the Eldar god of death, whose awakening requires a cosmic alignment of souls. The Cicatrix Maledictum, she claims, is no accident, but a fulcrum for this convergence, drawing all races to a single point of destiny. On the dead world of Elysion, a nexus of fate identified by Eldar seers, forces gather, Guilliman's Primaris legions, the Lion's Unforgiven, and Dante's Blood Angels face Abaddon's Black Legion, reinforced by Angron's World Eaters and Magnus's Sorcerers. Necron overlord Imhotep, seeking to sever the warp's influence, deploys a C'tan shard, its star-fragmented form unraveling reality. Tyrannid bioforms drawn by psychic echoes swarm the planet, their hive mind sensing a threat to its dominance. The Tau, led by Commander Shadowsun, arrive as opportunists, their railguns cutting through human and Xenos alike. The Battle of Elysion is apocalyptic. Guilliman, wielding the Emperor's sword, duels Angron, whose axe Gorechild drips with demonic ichor. Lion faces Magnus, their blades fealty and the blade of An-Nunurta clashing in a psychic maelstrom. Dante, his body failing under centuries of war, channels the Black Rage, becoming a whirlwind of angelic fury. Yvraine's Yennari summon Yenad's avatar, a spectral